At the summit of Mount Vodna, the air was thinner and tasted of pine and cold stone. Vedran stood at the edge of the world, his boots digging into the dry earth. Below, the city of Skopje looked like a child's toy set, its busy streets silenced by the altitude. At 18, the world felt too large to hold, yet here he was, preparing to step into the empty space between the earth and the sun. Behind him, Astra checked the tension of the wires and the curve of the synthetic wing. She was the one who had taught him that the sky wasn't something to conquer, but something to join. "The wind is a conversation, Vedran," she said, her hands moving with practiced grace over the aluminum frame of the hang glider. "If you listen, it will tell you exactly where to go." Fear was a heavy stone in Vedran's chest, but he breathed through it. He looked at the giant cross that crowned the mountain, a silent sentinel watching over the valley. He wasn't just launching a glider. He was launching a version of himself that he hadn't met yet. He adjusted his harness, feeling the familiar tug of the straps against his shoulders. "Clear!" Vedran shouted, his voice caught instantly by the breeze. He began to run, his legs pumped against the incline. The weight of the glider transformed from a burden into a lift. The ground became a blur of gray rock and yellow wildflowers. He reached the point of no return, where the cliff dropped away into the blue. Then the miracle happened. The ground vanished. The jarring vibration of running was replaced by a sudden crystalline stillness. Vedran was no longer a creature of the earth. He was suspended in a vast, invisible ocean. The sudden silence was so loud it made his heart race, a rhythmic drumming that matched the flapping of the wing's trailing edge. He banked to the left, circling the great Millennium Cross. From this height, the massive steel structure looked like a delicate lace shadow against the mountain. He saw the cable cars crawling up the slope like slow, colorful beetles. He felt a surge of electricity through his fingertips as he felt the thermals, pockets of warm air, pushing him higher into the light. The Vardar River wound through the valley like a discarded silver ribbon. Vedran leaned into the control bar, feeling the glider respond to his smallest movement. This was the freedom he had craved, the ability to move in 3 dimensions, to leave the paths and the roads behind. At 18, he realized that growing up wasn't about finding a place to stand, but learning how to move. Back on the launch site, Astra watched the small, triangular shape of the glider as it became a speck against the clouds. She knew the exhilaration he was feeling, the way the world seems to reset itself when you are looking at it from 1,000 feet up. She smiled, knowing that once you've seen the world this way, you can never truly be grounded again. The air grew warmer as Vedran began his long, slow descent toward the landing fields at the base of the mountain. The details of the world began to rush back, the smell of cut grass, the sound of distant traffic, the individual leaves on the trees. He picked his line carefully, watching the windsocks near the landing zone to judge the final approach. The transition was seamless. He flared the wing at the last second, his boots touching the soft grass with a gentle thud. He stood still for a moment, the heavy wing resting on his shoulders, breathing in the thick, sweet air of the valley. He had started the day on a mountain, and he had returned as someone who knew how to fly.